Many of us alive today are living lives that are unhealthy, unproductive, and pretty much make us very unhappy. It could be said that that's because, compared to our ancestors, we are awash in hyper-novelty. That's one of the main ideas explored in a hunter-gatherer's guide to the 21st century by Heather Heying and Bret Weinstein. Let's see what it's all about. Okay, so Bret and Heather are both evolutionary biologists that used to teach at Portland State University and were kicked out amidst some controversy that I don't really want to touch on here today, but it's well worth a read if you're into politics and this whole culture war kind of thing that we find ourselves in. But that's not what I want to talk about today. Today I want to talk about this one right here, their book that's only just come out. And yeah, I first came across Bret and Heather's work via the Joe Rogan podcast, and I was initially taken back by their story of what happened in the university, but I very quickly fell in love with their work when it comes to evolutionary biology, and it's second to none compared to the man himself, Richard Dawkins. This book is primarily about how our physical health, our mental health, and the health of our culture today is kind of slipping by the wayside very rapidly because it is so far removed from what our ancestors did that we're kind of finding a lot of our internal and external systems are starting to become maladaptive because they've never had more and easier access to the things that we are genetically wired to want because of scarcity, but because we're so awash in them all today, our systems just can't function properly with them. So I really enjoyed this book. One of my favourite parts is the beginning where Bret expounds on what is called the naturalistic fallacy, which is something that a lot of people alive today have fallen into the trap of, and that is that everything that is natural is good, which is completely false. And all you have to do is Google ricin or the botulinus toxin, and these two chemicals are very natural, and you'll quickly find out how bad they are. I'm pretty certain that both of them, they're in the realm of 1 gram, like one rice grain size piece of it could kill about 10,000 human beings. So it really is that toxic. It is clear that not everything natural is good. So Bret and Heather go into a little bit of evolutionary history for our species, and it is really, really interesting. Our evolutionary niche is actually what Bret refers to as niche switching. And I really, really, really love this. So niche switching is, just the ability to adapt very, very quickly and take on a new evolutionary niche to which hasn't been yet exploited. And that seems to be what really separates humans from the rest of the animal kingdom. But at the same time, maybe that ability to switch super fast and react to novel situations is starting to backfire in some manners just because we have so much novelty in our lives. One of the concepts that comes up again and again in this book is called Chesterton's fence, and I can't remember off the top of my head exactly where the term comes from, although I do remember Bret talking about it in the book. You shouldn't tear down a fence until you know the reason that it was put up there, at least in the first place. Which, that's got the rings of ancient wisdom, but I think it is pretty well true. In this world of hyper-novelty, maybe some of the things that have stayed with us for a while maybe shouldn't be chopped and changed and thrown out. And I guess that in a sense that, and there's been a few books that have covered this recently that I've gone over as well, in that maybe with things like religion, they've obviously come up with some kind of like that's gifted us with some kind of evolutionary advantage, maybe we should be analysing it more before we proverbially throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. And I can definitely see some of the aspects of organised religion in that it's got the community aspect. It's also got a way of kind of transferring moral information and storytelling through the generations, which I can see as a good thing, but it needs to be kind of ran through a filter, I think, for the 21st century, because there's a lot of really toxic baggage that comes along with that as well. So I think it's just moving forward, let's progress, but do so with caution. So there's some really good sections on basically every aspect of modern life where people are having trouble. There's some sections on diet, there's some sections on parenting, some sections on mental health, love and sex is brought up quite a few times. As you can imagine, they are both evolutionary biologists, so they do study the mating rituals and habits of humanity. But again, these are all areas to which we have kind of picked up maladaptive systems along the way, or our systems have become maladaptive. I won't spoil any of it, but it's well worth a read. One of my favourite things that they have said, and I can't remember if it was actually quoted directly in the book, but essentially they say don't eat food that your great-grandma wouldn't recognise. And I think that is really, really smart, because food can have such a profound effect on both our physical fitness and our mental health. I've seen a lot of people that eat carbs go into this kind of, it's almost depressive state when they do, and it's a very slow, lethargic, energy draining kind of thing. And when you think about it, I mean, this is 2021, right, guys? We should be tailoring our nutrition specifically for our own bodies, as opposed to eating this sugar-drenched crap that we get from the supermarkets. I mean, still to this day, I am trying to wean myself off as much sugar in my diet as I possibly can, and I am really struggling with it. It's quite difficult. As far as addictions go, sugar is one of the more nasty ones and hardest things to break. And as they talk about in the book, there's a very, very good reason for that. I mean, our ancestors, while they were genetically wired to enjoy sugary and high sugar content food just because of the calories, but these things were rare and seasonal, so we didn't have access to them all the time. I mean, I've got a supermarket, probably the better part, it's like less than 1 kilometre from my house, so I only have to go for a very short walk to get access to it. One of the really interesting parts in this section of the book, where they're talking about the roots of these maladaptive systems that we currently have, there's a really good section on the evolution of pain and why pain exists. And there's a lot of crossover with what Johann Hari is talking about in Lost Connections, in the mental and I don't like using the word psychic, but psychic pain that we feel has evolutionary roots. It's telling us that there is something wrong in the situation and we need to change it before we do ourselves some very serious damage. So yeah, all of the sections on these seemingly maladaptive systems are really good. The one on sleep and its evolutionary heritage and why we need it is particularly good. I know that getting my sleep back under control was one of the main click points that I had in improving my mental health. Once you get yourself into very solid rhythms, you will find your mental health improving significantly. Like I said, I really don't agree with everything in this book. There is a section where Bret riffs on the concept where we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and he chooses astrology out of all the things he could have picked And I'm sorry guys, it's just bullshit. He tries to wax on a little bit about how there could be minute measurable changes in personality throughout the year, not because of the alignment of any celestial bodies, but due to the rhythms of the earth, like summer and winter and that kind of thing. And I get what he's trying to say, but ultimately he was grasping at straws. It's going to get taken out of context and probably used against him. That's the impression I got. I mean, I really do truly understand that it's probably what Peter Boghossian would call a golden bridge, in that it's trying to get people like the kind of hippie, new age, nature-driven types. It's giving them a chance to kind of come over to the more science-based stuff. So I understand why he did it, but I really think he could have used a better example than astrology, because it will get taken out of context and it will get used against them. So yeah, not everything is completely stellar, to make a bit of a pun there, but yeah. Now, there's, like I said, it waxes and wanes and it kind of ebbs and flows and it dips in quality just in that one bit. Like I said, astrology was not the right choice, Brett. As much as I really enjoyed the rest of the book and I love the rest of your content, that was probably not a wise choice. So one thing I found really, really good in this book is the structure of it, in that what it does is that it will kind of riff on a particular part of human life which has become maladaptive, and then they have a small section called the corrective lens, where they kind of just give ideas and ways to counter things that are going wrong for us humans. And it is a really refreshing book to read. Like I said, some of it might be taken out of context by the new age types, but it is still definitely worth a read. Yeah, so I really, really like the conclusion. The part where Bret starts talking about negative externalities in regards to our current economy is particularly interesting and worth a read if you are into society, large problems and politics and economics. It's essentially when someone benefits from a system where they don't have to pay the price of those benefits, essentially, and it's a particularly good section. Well done there, Brett. So guys, to wrap this up, I definitely think that you should pick this one up. It is a great read and it hits on all the right points that I think we should be thinking about to improve both our physical and mental health in 2021. So if you have read this one already, I'd love to talk to you about it in the comments, what you think about it. I will be keeping a close eye on the careers of Bret and Heather for some time, I think. So, as always guys, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, go outside, get better, and be awesome. See you next time, guys.